Where I see women breaking the mould a lot is rural women. I see rural women inventing things to do, like ways to earn income and ways to start businesses. And, you know, if you're familiar with the Buy from the Bush campaign, like, I think that's just a fantastic example of that. So you see, you know, women faced with a problem and then coming up with these really creative and inventive solutions. And I guess I also see that in the farming community, with women, you know, leading the transformation along the way of regenerative farming and sustainable farming and so on in many areas. Where I don't see it, and where I'd really like to see it, would be like more greater equality, I guess, of access to all sorts of jobs for all people. You know, you're not seeing many men entering childcare, and you're not seeing many women entering the trade, but both men and women have got suitabilities in all of those areas, particularly in a modern workforce. Anyone could do any job now, but we still don't.
I'm very pleased to say that there's two significant areas where I believe women are breaking the mould. The first one is around being able to speak out about sexual assault and sexual abuse. To have an Australian of the Year who has refused to remain silent is incredible, as is the recent events in Federal Parliament House, where staffers have refused to remain silent on a spate of alleged assaults that we're hearing about. This is groundbreaking for all women, and understanding that we can speak out and that stigma can be removed eventually, I believe, is truly, truly inspiring. The other part where I'm loving to see role models for all of the young women in our lives, our daughters and granddaughters, is in women's sport. That has just exploded over the last couple of years, and it's great to be able to see those role models and inspiring women really testing their bodies and getting into that successful competitive spirit.
Extraordinary advances have been made, of course, of the role of women. I came entirely from the law as my background, and it was extraordinarily difficult for women at the time when I was law school. In those days, legal firms were still taking on the one token woman only. That has just changed, and partnerships, associateships, partnerships are significantly more readily available. There's still a lot of work to be done, I think, in any area, but there is one area which I think I really should emphasise, and that is STEM. I know that there's a lot of discussion around STEM, but it was put to me by a senior educator recently: unless women are encouraged and facilitated and made excited about STEM, women will be the underpaid next generation of workers, professional workers, semi-professional workers, the entire workforce. And I thought that was a very compelling statement. Unless women really do significantly take part in STEM, doesn't mean they have to leave behind their history, their reading, their English and their philosophy, which are great mind-expanding aspects of education. But I think STEM is the area where women really have to ensure that they're absolutely front, centre and pushing from behind.
In recent years, I've seen women breaking the mould by role modelling alternative leadership styles, those that differ from the traditional norm. Women who lead with compassion, empathy, emotional intelligence, and may not have the loudest voice in the room, set an incredible example for both men and women looking to enter leadership.
I think there's still a lot of work we need to do in this area. We are breaking the mold in terms of getting into positions that in the past maybe there weren't very many, if any, women in them. But I think that the work ahead of us is more in terms of not breaking the mold, but enlarging the mold to make sure that the capacity increases for women in leadership, and certainly to make sure that the remuneration that we get as leaders, in whatever field that might be, is comparable to that of men. I think those are the areas where we still need to kind of break the mold and continue to build.
I think that the most significant change is that there's a lot more discussion. There's a lot more flexibility and understanding of work-life balance. And the fact that more men are taking active roles, both in parenting but also in the discussion. Nonetheless, I also see that there is still a long way to go in relation to the discussion. My daughter recently had an experience. She wanted to pursue medicine, which she is now doing, but one of her unit coordinators of physiology in the university said to her that she had to choose. She had to choose whether she wanted to be a doctor or she wanted to be a mother. And I think that is really quite disheartening for young women when they're told that their career choice is limiting because they're a woman. We need to have conversations. We need to let young women know what is possible. And so being able to show young women examples of leaders and women leaders and demonstrate their success and their ability to manage all their dreams, not just part of their dreams, is really important.
I was raised in a family where both my parents, mum and dad, had full-time jobs and they both shared equal parenting responsibilities. I remember my dad contributed equally, if not more, towards all of the household work. He did the cleaning, prepared meals, got us ready for school, read us stories before bedtime, helped us with the homework. Whenever my mum traveled for work, I remember staying with my dad for weeks at a stretch. And it was considered quite normal for both parents to be sharing equal parenting and household responsibilities. But after leaving my parents' home, when I stepped into this world on my own, I realized how different things were. In most households, at least in my experience, women were expected for the most part to be homemakers and men breadwinners. If a woman wanted to have a career, it would always have to be in addition to the parenting and household responsibilities. And we all know how that works out. More often than not, we end up compromising a great deal in our careers, whether it means letting go of a career opportunity or having to put brakes on our professional goals, or simply giving up on our professional dreams and ambitions and settling for less.
You know, we had 2 little babies, and so my husband at the time said, you know what, I'll stay home. You earn a good income, you've got security, I'm not enjoying my work at the moment, I want to do this. So he became a stay-home dad, and he did that for 4.5 years. There was 1 or 2 views of him. There was either something wrong with him or he was a superhero. Even though I had a really great employer who enabled me to work 2 days from home. So in other words, our children had 2 parents at home 2 days of the week. I was questioned, even the receptionist at the doctor's surgery questioned my ability to be a mother. Other women would say, oh, you are so lucky. You are so, you know, you've got this amazing husband. And I'm thinking, do people say that about you? Do other people say to you, wow, you're an amazing woman. You're staying home and raising these children. Isn't that amazing?
Even though we're seeing a shift in the mindset of our society globally, where gender norms are changing, I think we still have a long way to go. If we want to bring more women in leadership positions, then we need to move away from traditional beliefs about gender-specific roles, and we need to fight against these stereotypes and outdated traditional perceptions.
For all my children, I have said to them, follow what you're passionate about, work hard, work for your goals, despite your gender, despite society's views about roles. I have a son who's a teacher and I have a daughter who's studying medicine, and they were not roles that associated with their respective genders, but they're pursuing their passion. I think one of the things that I have done is demonstrated to them that you can have it all. You know, you can be a parent you can be a worker, you can be a loving mother, and you can be a successful executive or whoever you want to be.